Buenos dias, this is Senor Irvin, and this is a video about ER and IR verbs. First, let me go ahead and run through a quick reminder about why these are called ER and IR verbs. There's three different kinds of verbs in Espanol. There are AR verbs, which you just finished covering, and then these are the last two different types of verbs. They are ER and IR verbs. And as you can tell, as I wrote here, I'm going to highlight the ends of these verbs here. And the reason, of course, why this is called an ER verb is that it ends in ER. And the reason this one's an IR verb, it ends in IR, which totally makes sense. Now, the thing that's interesting or important about this is that because they end in ER, they follow a set pattern. So the ER verbs are going to follow a pattern, and then the IR verbs are going to follow a different pattern too. Now, what's cool about this, and the reason why we teach these two together, is that the patterns that the ER and the IR verbs have are almost exactly alike. Actually, there's only one difference between the two. So once you memorize one of the patterns, the other pattern is going to be easy for you to memorize too. Before we begin with ER and IR verbs, let's just go through the AR verbs as a quick review, because when you take your big test, you need to know all of the endings, not just ER and IR verbs, but AR, ER, and IR verbs in the present tense. So anyway, what do you do? How do you change verbs? It depends on what the pronoun is. In this case, in the top left-hand corner, we always put the pronoun yo. And then what we're going to do is drop the ending and then add our new ending, which in this case is going to be the letter O. Yo is always O. Yo ando. Tu goes in this box right here. And tu ending for an AR verb is AS. And the reason why I'm showing you the AR verbs again is because they follow also a similar pattern to the ER and IR verbs. So you're going to kind of see what are the similarities here. This box holds usted, él, and ella. And some of you finally figured out, were able to figure out that anytime you have one person or one thing, it's going to fit into this category. This is the he and she form or the it form. Also the you formal form here too. The longest ending is always the nosotros form, which goes up here in the top right. It's nosotros and nosotros. The ending is AMOS for AR verbs. And let's highlight that in red. Good. And then we have the last box here, and that is the ustedes, ellos, and ellas forms. And they are the y'all or the they forms, and they end in AN for AR verbs. Cool. Now that we have all those and we reviewed them, okay, if you don't have those down somewhere or you forgot them already, you want to get them down, okay, because again, you will be tested on this again in this unit. So anyway, let's look at this pattern. It's o, as, a, amos, and an. And remember this when we get to these ER verbs. We're going to follow a similar pattern here. Now remember, I told you that it's super important to remember that certain pronouns go in certain boxes. This goes yo all the time. This one's always tú. This one's always usted, él, and ella. And this one is always nosotros. And this one is always ellos, ellas, and ustedes. Okay, cool. All right, so what's going to happen with an ER verb? Well, let's see how similar it is to the AR verb. As we go through this, making these big. Okay, cool. Let's go with yo. Okay, so yo always ends in O. It doesn't matter what kind of verb it is. So it's yo como. If I want to say I eat, yo como. I'm going to put my O there, make this big, yo como. Cool. Tú, it's an ER verb, so it's going to be tú comes. ES is going to be my ending. Let me highlight that, drop the ER, add ES. Usted, él, and ella is come. Come. Muy bien. Come. And then nosotros up here is going to be comes. Oh, sorry, comemos, E-M-O-S. In the AR verb, it was amos, A-M-O-S. It's an ER verb, so it would make sense that it would be E-M-O-S, comemos. Muy bien, the last one is comer. In the ellos, ellas, and ustedes form is comen, E-N. Okay? Instead of A-N in the AR verb, it's E-N. Again, hopefully this is starting to make some sense because it has a similar pattern to these. Look at these, and then look at this. Very, very similar. So it's O, es, e, hemos, and en. Como, comes, come, comemos, and comen. So those are my 5 endings. Bueno? Cool. We have another verb, though, a type of verb left. It's our IR verbs. What is awesome about the IR verbs is that they have similar endings to the ER verbs. I'm just going to put my endings now. I'm not going to put the pronouns all over again. The first one in the yo form is vivo, I live. In this case, IR verb here is vivo. The tu form, though, look at this. It's es, the same as the ER verb. So far, exactly the same as the ER verb. Let's follow that same pattern. The he and she and usted form is vive. Okay? Follows the exact same thing as the ER verb. The only difference between ER and IR verbs, I'll put a little star right here, perfecto, is this one right here, the nosotros form. So in the nosotros form, the ending is going to be IMOS. Okay, so that is the only difference between ER and IR verbs is right here in the nosotros form, vivimos. Okay, and then the last one is viven, EN, viven. They form. Ustedes viven, ellos viven. Cool? So it's vivo, vives, vive, vivimos, viven. So this and this almost exactly alike. Cool? All right. So those are the ER and the IR verbs endings, okay? And how to change and conjugate those verbs. If you've stuck so far with me, I'm going to give you a little bonus here. There's an assignment that you have to do. It's one of the quests here coming up. And it says ER and IR verbs review. And I'm going to help you do the first 5. Cool. So you stuck it out this long. I'm going to give you some answers. Let's start with the first one. It says basically, remember to use ER and IR verbs. You have a list of verbs on this side. Okay. And this, you have more than this as far as the questions. You have a bunch of verbs here. And then it gives you a statement en inglés. And then how do you change it to Spanish? Let's start off with the first one. I drink milk. Okay. So it's like yo. Okay. Then let's find the word drink over here on this side. It happens to be right here. It's beber. Okay. So we know we have to drop that ER. Okay. And because it's yo, it just ends in O. So it's yo bebo. And it tells us in parentheses right here that milk is something called leche. Yo bebo leche. Cool. Let's do number 2. Número 2 says you eat tacos. Of course you do. It says you, so let's just put tú. Doesn't tell us what kind of you. Tú comes tacos. The reason why I changed comes to tú, to es here, is because the tú form has to have es there for an ER verb. Cool? This says she attends school every day. To attend is this word right here, asistir. So let's write she first, ella. And then asistir, we're dropping the IR. The she form of asistir is just an E. Okay, so it's ella asiste la escuela, school. Every day, it's in parentheses there. Todos los días. Cool. Número 4. They receive letters. They is ellos. Okay. Receive is one of the ones down on this list. Okay, it's not visible on this thing, but it's recibir. And drop off the IR, it's the they form, so it's reciben. And then this tells us that letters are cartas. Awesome. And the last one. This is the one that kind of tricks a lot of people. We have Marta y yo. Okay? Martha and I. Anytime you have this y yos kind of statement, you know it is nosotros because it means Martha and I, so it means we. So Marta y yo, and we have escribir. So escribimos. Okay, a lot is mucho en la clase de inglés. Or you could just put en inglés if you wanted to. See? Cool. Those are 5 easy questions there for you, easy responses. Bueno, that's all I have for you. Adios, hasta la vista. Make sure you study these. Bye-bye.